let me introduce Apushe, Apeshu, sorry, sorry, and Maria. Got that right.
2011, I staged my first exhibition just downstairs here of some of the work I had done in the 1970s. What I have put together here, yes, is just 15 shots that would jog the memories of people like Intu and the other old people here, and would be a spark of enlightenment to some of the others. This was actually a march to Arima. It was taken when we were approaching, we had just passed Tagarigua. And it kind of exemplifies what that tempo was at the time. And we happen to have almost all of the leadership in a line there. So from left to right, there's Winston Leonard with the beard. two persons on right behind Daga's hand is Joe Young of Tiwu. Then Macandal Daga in front. Just behind his left arm is Teddy Belgrave, who was one of the persons in the Sir George Williams University. Next to him is Kelchol, well, a brother whose, one of his names is Kelchol Bodhi. Let us just leave it at that. In the white jersey in front of him is Clive Nunez. And just to the right of him in the beret is Winston Daniel Lasana Kwesi, one of the poets and one of the leaders in the organization. Instead of giving you any more pictures of Macandal Daga, I chose this one. This is Macandal Daga addressing a crowd in Woodford Square. In those days, when we had almost nightly meetings in Woodford Square, you would have a few thousand people cramming into the square to hear what was going to be revealed at that point. And I have spent hours looking at this picture and looking at the expressions on the faces of the people who are in the audience. There were two of them who see me coming to take the picture, so they pose and they're waiting for the picture. There are some who see it and duck the head because they want they want the picture for the police. And then you have the whole range of expressions that flowed there. All right, let's go ahead. This is one of the high points of those 55 days of demonstrations. This is one of the pictures of the funeral of Basil Davis, who was shot on the 6th or 7th of April outside Woodford Square. This has gone down in history as being the largest funeral that ever occurred in Trinidad and Tobago. The estimates range from a conservative 30,000 to an optimistic 100,000. If you look, this is taken on 6th Street as we were proceeding east. We had come off the main road. We were passing in front of Basil Davis's family's house. If you look there, you can see if you just sweep your eyes across, people are about 20 abreast in the street. They're virtually shoulder to shoulder right across the street. As far forward as the eye can see. Yes. Yeah, change it. And as far back as the eye can see. You could do the maths and see what kind of thing you come up with. But when the beginning of that funeral was passing Mova Junction, the back was still in Port of Spain. It hadn't. As we went through the period, we started developing, concentrating on different aspects of African culture. And one of them was the introduction of the traditional Yoruba ceremonies. This is a wedding that took place in Mova that went down as being the largest wedding they ever had in Mova that didn't cost the bride and groom nothing. This is a young fella and Aisha Mutope And as in the tradition, his mother sits on outside of outside of him, and her mother is on the other side. That was in 1975. Let's go. This was one of the other uses that we managed to put the Woodford Square facility to. We staged, apart from concerts and rallies, we staged art exhibitions and functions of that nature. Let's go again. We developed a series called Black Traditions in Art, which turned out to be the first time in our history that Calypso shows were held outside of the Carnival season. And NJAC started having monthly shows featuring different Calypsonians. In this case was Brother Stalin, who had been presented with an award, a painting, because we not only presented the artists to get them the exposure, they were also awarded and proclaimed, their contribution to society was recognized. And I want to leave you with what I think is one of the best images that I managed to salvage out of that period. This is Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, the fighter, not the gentle old man that some of us need to hold. This was in 1975 when he was speaking at the launch of the National Action Union and still had the fire in the belly that people refer to. And since the conventional historians will not record it, I am making my effort to make sure that it is documented and that it is presented in a form that I intend to get into all of the schools in Trinidad and Tobago. And we're going to give them the whole of the sentence to acknowledge that it did happen.